Rowdy just found a gopher. She's all excited about finding a gopher. This is the very last day of harvest 2022.
Ready to harvest the ready to.
Part of how we determine that last day is our Cab Franc and Malbec varietals would actually go longer than this, but we watch the weather. And since we have our own harvester, which is out there working right now, we wait until Mother Nature tells us, okay, it's getting too close. It's 35 degrees this morning. At that point, the vines start to sense their time to shut down, start to think about defoliating their leaves, and then moving into another year. So this is the day. I'm going fishing, so that's also something that plays into the schedule here at Stillwaters, in that I'm going fishing at Pyramid Lake. So that made it also the right day. So this year, I would say, is a year that most growers and winemakers would like to put in the record books, and we'll probably talk about it sometime, saying you remember 2022, and it won't be always in a fond memory. So the drought is now on a year 2 cumulatively. It's on about a 6-year on and off, but 6 inches of rain or so here a year ago, 4 inches this year, normal 14. So what happens is the center of the aisles, which is where natural rain will cause composting, breaking down nutrients, supplementing the vines. We haven't had that, and we can't really duplicate that. So even though we can drip and give the vines a drink of water, everybody's off this year. So just to put it in perspective, probably between 30 and 40% less crop. If you do that on a macro scale in Paso Robles, it's probably a little bit north of $200 million of crop that didn't happen. So it happens in agriculture. We're going to go up and down. Statewide, though, which is really indicative of we cannot replace natural rain. It's off everywhere. But there's buds on these canes. In the buds is next year's cane and next year's fruit. So you would say it's already baked in, meaning these grapevines this year, on the conditions they've had this year, have determined what next year's crop's going to be. So we're also not real optimistic about, possibly next year's crop, because that's why this year's crop is off, because we're in the 2nd year of a drought. And so the vines know not to produce too much grapes because they won't have enough resources to ripen those grapes. So nature does that. So right there, if I take a razor blade and I dissect that and I stick it under a microscope, it will show me basically next year's crop, whether it's there or not there. So then, in addition to the challenges this year, the vines were already, stressed. And then we had almost 12 days of over 105, some days 112. So if it gets hot enough, what the grapevines do is they will actually consume their own juice. They dehydrate. And so that even in addition cause more of a lessening of the size of the crop. So the berries are very small. Very small, very concentrated, very flavorful. So this will make a very nice wine, just unfortunately not enough of it. This part of the canopy, we have dehydration going on here, where the vine actually during that heat period, that's about, again, a 50% weight of this cluster because of the raisioning. Now the machine is so wonderful, it will not shake these raisins, it only shakes the actual fruit. We got lucky. We decided not to leaf here at Stillwaters, so we left quite a bit of coverage. It's a guess. You have to do that as a guess. I guessed right. So there's some of the crop this year that we feel is a really nice crop, and in fact, the whites, which come in earlier, were ahead of that problematic time. So to wrap up Harvest 2022. Most of Paso Robles vineyards are probably in the 30 to 40% off range. As far as quality, it's going to be great quality in some cases, and then in other cases probably more challenging because the unevenness of harvest. We had that big heat spell. So we won't know on the red wines for 2 years whether or not what's a great year. And the wonderful thing, or the exciting thing about grape farming, there will always be special grapes, special versions, and we'll probably never be able to duplicate that again. Absolutely. I think what we're picking today could very well be some of the best Cab Franc we've ever had.